Hello, Prof. Ching. Today, I'll be presenting on the perpetuation of class divisions presented through the Mall of Ion Orchard, or ION for short. ION is a site that holds both economic and cultural significance here in Singapore. The upscale mall is more than just a shopping destination, being a space that symbolizes class distinctions and reflects a broader societal stratifications. Shopping malls are part and parcel of Singapore's urban landscape. As reflected in Clara Ang's 2011 article about the politics of retail spaces, the provenance of malls in Singapore parallels a larger urban planning narrative to suit the consumption needs of Singaporeans. Beyond consumption, shopping malls are also public spaces where leisure and social activities are enabled, rationalizing their significance here in Singapore. So you might be asking, why Ion Orchard? I specifically chose Ion because of its oscillation between its characteristic function as a mall and its use as an exclusive space for the wealthy. The juxtaposition between its use as a public space and the perceptions of luxury associated with the mall differentiates the way people experience the mall, crafting a distinct dichotomy between social groups and illustrating how space and design can subtly reinforce class divisions. To analyze this, I will focus on two main considerations. First, the environment of the mall, which includes its architecture, shops, and atmosphere, and second, the behavior of visitors, looking at their purposes for visiting and habits within the space. Let me begin with the environment of Ion Orchard. The differing environment of the mall draws different groups of shoppers to lower and upper parts of the mall, split along lines of social class. Here, I used visual site observation to collect tangible data points and to accurately depict the situation on the ground. First, the architecture. The mall's design differs drastically between its lower and upper floors, reflecting contrasting priorities and catering to different social groups. On the lower levels, such as basement 4, the design prioritizes practicality and circulation. Narrow walkways necessitate movement due to the small space and typically high volume of shoppers. Combined with the low ceilings of the space, sightlines of shoppers are directed forwards, creating a sense of directedness in the space as well as a perpetual sense of movement. In contrast, the upper floors exude opulence and luxury. Tall, airy atriums and wide walkways create an environment of leisure and comfort. Shoppers are free to roam the space and to choose their path of travel, allowing them to take their time and to explore the space. Next, I will consider the shops and retail offerings. The mall's retail strategy mirrors its architectural hierarchy. On the lower floors, I found household brands offering affordable commodities of food and clothing. These stores are welcoming, with open layouts showcasing their products to entice browsing. Furthermore, with narrow storefronts, a greater volume of stores is able to be accommodated in that space. However, moving upstairs to the upper floors, the landscape changes. Here, the mall is dominated by high-end luxury brands, the intimidating design of these stores evoking feelings of grandeur and exclusivity. With wide storefronts, high ceilings, and grand entrances typically framed by metal and glass, a sense of opulence and luxury is propagated outwards. These stores are often physically gated, with security guards standing by the entrances to these stores and the products sold being enclosed behind a barrier of the large glass windows. The gated here is not only physical but also metaphorical, as products are visible yet ultimately out of reach for shoppers, unless granted access by security guards. This emphasizes that only a specific clientele is able to enter and patronize the store. Lastly, the atmosphere. On the lower levels, particularly in the basement, the lighting is glaring and sharp, while the air is filled with the smell of fried food. The sounds are typically a cacophony of voices, often punctuated by recognizably casual Singlish conversations. This creates a bustling, practical, and communal atmosphere. On the upper floors, the atmosphere shifts. Soft, yellow lighting descends from above, creating a warm glow. The air carries a subtle mix of tangerine and sandalwood, the mall's signature scent. Classical music plays in the background, and conversations are hushed and distant. These sensory details evoke a serene, refined environment, signaling luxury and exclusivity. All this being said, what implications does this have for class and how are class divisions maintained? Ion Orchard physically segregates people along class lines through two factors that I've identified: income and preferences. With respect to the income of shoppers, Berger's concept of stratification is significant. The mall's layout and offerings physically stratify visitors based on prestige and privileges enabled by economic capital. With expensive luxury brands consolidated on the upper levels and household brands in the basement, shoppers of different social classes are drawn to different parts of the mall due to a difference in income and subsequently spending power. Furthermore, income has a direct influence on tastes and preferences, exemplified by Bordeaux's idea of objectified cultural capital. Through Ion, luxury is commodified. The high income of the upper class shoppers shape their perceptions on the desirability and accessibility of luxurious commodities. Driven by the appeal of luxury goods as status symbols, social class is further maintained when the mall's environment enables the upper class to gain objectified cultural capital while restricting the lower and middle classes' access to the same cultural capital. Furthermore, the architecture and atmosphere further reminds shoppers of class divisions by appealing to both demographics in unique ways. The architecture and atmosphere of the basement is reminiscent of the typical Singaporean mall, creating a familiar environment where shoppers of the middle class feel comfortable in. Conversely, the architecture and atmosphere of the upper levels convey a sense of exclusivity, creating a distinctly privatized shopping experience with the ideal conditions for the wealthy to consume and to buy, further consolidating cultural capital and maintaining class divisions.
Second, I will analyze the behavior of shoppers through their purposes and habits within the mall. As alluded to earlier, the behavior of visitors further reinforces class dynamics. Enabled by the environment, different patterns of consumerism between the upper and middle classes accumulate into the formation of differing habits across time. Here, I utilized interviews as they provided a subjective and intimate point of contact, capturing the nuances of the individual's experience. A particularly significant interview was with an Indonesian woman working as a model in Singapore. Do you come here often? Because I know today's more of a special visit for you.
Yeah. It's mostly like once a week.
Once a week. I see.
Yeah, depends. Yeah, sometimes hang out with friends.
Definitely. Do you find yourself buying things when you come to the mall?
Sometimes yes. Sometimes yeah.
Also,
Depends on what I need it. Yeah.
Based on her response, the frequency of which she visits Ion showcases how coming to the mall is routine for her, becoming integrated with her lifestyle. She further explained that she enjoyed shopping here as the luxury brands that she liked were all consolidated within the same space. Beyond shopping, she also said that Ion was a popular meeting spot for her and her friends. Upon further questioning, she confessed that she had never visited the food court or the food stalls in the basement before, as her meals with friends were typically held in the restaurants above.
Through the formation of habits and lifestyles attributed to the mall, Weber's ideas of status and status groups come into play. Status is idealized when lifestyles associated with Ion become attributed to notions of privilege and prestige. The mall then retains customer loyalty of a wealthy clientele through its status appeal, consolidating stratification beyond parameters of social class, but through status as well. As wealthy shoppers continually patronize the mall, status groups are created and reinforced when the demographic starts to, first, possess a common lifestyle, and second, have that sort of lifestyle with a degree of social closure. This is further supported by Bordeaux's notion of embodied cultural capital, as the sharing of a lifestyle within the same space reinforces norms, habits, and values exclusive to the upper class. Ion Orchard, to conclude, serves as a microcosm for the nature of class divisions and stratification in Singapore. Through Ion, we are able to examine broader tensions between the state's narratives and inequality in Singapore. The existence of Ion is a testament to the narrative the state's narrative of development on a global scale, while acknowledging that certain groups will inevitably be excluded through systemic factors beyond their control. Through examining Ion, we are able to critically evaluate the maintenance of class distinctions and divisions here in Singapore.